So we're going to make a circular weaving today, like this. So it's just woven onto an embroidery hoop with various different wools, different thicknesses. So what you're going to need is an embroidery hoop. It's got two parts. You'll need a needle with a big eye, blunt needle like a darning needle. You'll need a peg to be a shuttle. You'll need a pair of scissors. You'll need a little collection of different thicknesses of yarns that all go together nicely. And you'll need some good strong cotton yarn to do the warp. Okay, so we start off with our embroidery hoop and we take off the outer one and put that aside. Now we're going to sort out the warp thread. So you won't be able to use it off the cone because you won't be able to get it through the little gap. So we have to wind off some of this cotton. So you can use your hoop to measure. So I'm going to do, let's say, 17 twists. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, and now I'm going to wind this onto my peg. So just trap the end inside the peg like that, and then just wrap it round. This is a shuttle then, so that you can poke it through the little gaps in your hoop. Okey-doke. Right, so that's all wound on. So now the next thing I'm going to do is tie it to my hoop. Just a couple of knots. Right, so we're going to go across the hoop to the other side, but not straight across the top. We're actually going to put the shuttle through the hoop first and then round. And then we're going to come back across. So if you hold your latest junction there, then put the shuttle through the hoop, straight across, wind it round, and then you're going to put your finger on that latest junction just to hold it still, and then you're going to go through the hoop, around, put your finger on that latest junction to hold it still, through the hoop, round. So as you can see, I'm working clockwise, through the hoop, round, hold on to that junction, through the hoop, round, hold on to the latest junction. Okay, so I'm going to carry on threading up the whole of this hoop and then I'll show you how to finish it up. Okay, so I've gone all the way around. I've had to sort of adjust them a little bit so that they're reasonably even, and I've come back to the knot where I started down here. I just need to check that I've got an odd number, because it's important to have an odd number for the weaving to work. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yes, so I've got an odd number of spokes, so that's perfect. But before I tie the working thread off with the original knot, I'm just going to pull together this centre because it's a little bit too open at the moment. So just going to bring that, go back and hold your latest junction so that it doesn't all fall apart. So go through a space at the bottom, through a space at the top, pull that all tightly, and that will pull that centre together nicely. So now I'm just going to knot my working thread with the thread at the bottom. Okay, so let's start our weaving. As you can see, with the original one I started with a green, which makes the centre show rather. So what I'm going to do this time is start with a colour very similar to my warp threads. Just to make sure we keep those warp threads tight, we're going to put the outer ring back on and then screw that up nice and tight, and that keeps all your warp threads still. Okay, so I'm going to measure off a couple of meters of this, so I just do fingertip to chin for a meter, and then I'm going to thread it into my darning needle. It's a good big eye, so even this thicker wool will go through it. And then I'm just going to come through one of the sections in the warp threads, leave a little tail at the back, and then that's going to be tied to the second end of this to keep it all tight. So basically you're going to treat each of these double spokes as one, and you're just going to go over and under. So I'm going to go I've gone over that one, so I'll go back there and under that one, and then over that one. So it's just basically a matter of putting your needle in and out and then tugging it into the centre. Now there's a rhythm to this, as there always is with these things. That's quite relaxing. So just go forward and back. If you do this down on a table rather than held up in front of a camera, you'll find you can do several ins and outs at a time. So I'm coming round to where I started, my first end, tugging that in, still going in and out, backwards and forwards. And I just want to make sure that the original spoke of the warp, where I went over it on this second row, I want to make sure I'm going under it, just so that we get the weaving working right. I tuck that in, make sure everything's working, so I'm going to go through that one, through that one. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm now going over the original spoke that I went under in the first place. So that will make my weaving work. So I'll carry on until I get to the end of my 2 meters, undo these knots that I've got, and I'll show you how to finish that off. Okay, so I've woven my 2 meters of cream under and over all the way around. So turn over to the back, take off your needle, and you've got 2 ends there. So if you just tie those 2 together, then that will stop it all coming unravelled. So I'll do that. 1 knot, 2 knots, cut the ends so they're not too much in the way, and now I can choose what I want to use next. So I'm going to use this very pretty green wool next. So let's just wind myself off a couple of meters, let's say 3 this time. So a metre is from my chin to my fingertips. And that's a nice easy way of measuring my metre. So I'm going to thread this end in. Now if you've got slippy thread, or if you just want to keep it more secure, you can actually knot your yarn onto the needle. Now I'm going to look carefully to see where I finished the last one. So this is the last thread weave went over that. So assume we're going under this spoke, so then we'll go over this one. So I'm going to come out through there, pull my yarn through, again leave a little tail at the back that I'll hold on to start off with, and then just carry on with your backwards and forwards. So backwards, forwards, give it a little tug, backwards, forwards, give it a little tug. And as I say, this is so much easier when you've got it on the table in front of you. You can actually do a few backwards and forwards or ins and outs at the same time. I tend to actually hang it over the edge of the table so that I can easily go up and down, maybe have a hand above and a hand below. So just carry on with this colour until you've got as much of that as you want, or until you've got to the end of your 2 to 3 meters. And that's going to be a nice colour balance there. So this is my original one. As you can see on the back, there's a lot of knots. How I attach the first and last end of each colour. So it's a little bit scruffy, so I think I might put a bit of felt on the back before I hang that up. Then I put a little loop on the top so I can hang it up. And I think I might also take off this outside ring and wrap it in ribbon so that that gives it a nice frame. And then the second one that I've been working on is slightly smaller, so I think they'll look quite nice hung up together as home decor with different sizes but the same yarns in a different order. So that's circular weaving.